Hello, Gemini and Sagittarius risings. This is your G and Tarot horoscope. So I am doing your readings together because Gemini and Sagittarius sit on an axis in the zodiac. So Gemini and Sagittarius are opposite each other. You may or may not know that, but it means that a lot of the issues you deal with are the same. And so I think it makes a lot of sense to do a reading together, especially with the way the astrology plays out in July. But you let me know what you think. If you like it better separate, we can do that potentially again. But I think the themes are consistent enough that you're going to find more meaning in doing it this way. So, but yeah, definitely let me know. So, the last time I did this, I outlined the astrology. Um, I outlined all of the astrology in my video where I did the forecasting. And so I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to invite you to scroll over to look at my astrology of August video, which goes through all of the significant dates and transits. And so you can understand what's coming in the month. And then here we'll drill down into where it will show up for you. So hopefully that makes sense. I will link it at the end, and I'll link it in the comments if you are struggling to find that astrology of August video. All right, what else do I need to say? Of course, as with any forecasting tool, take what works and leave the rest. These are general readings, and so archetypally, sometimes I might hit more consistently than other times. But yeah, so look for fluid themes, and definitely if something's not working for you, you know, I it that can happen with these kinds of general readings. That said, if this resonates with you, if you like this format, I would be eternally grateful if you would give me a like, a subscribe, a comment, or a share. Something to let me know you're out there, something to let other people know that this content is worth listening to and worth the algorithm sharing. So I would very much appreciate it if you would give me one of those things or multiples of those things. It's always, I enjoy comments. It's nice to know people are out there and listening. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Lisa Merrifield. I am with Trails Edge Astrology. I am a modern psychological astrologer, which means that what I like to do with astrology is really help people find their gifts and their creative tensions, their opportunities in life, and think about how to work with them. A lot of times we know what those things are, but part of us, won't let us go there. And so I think that's the real value of astrology, is kind of confirming like the thing, the longings of your heart that's real um, and is energy that you're encouraged to step into. Yeah, so I like to help people look at that. I like people to help people look at what the energy is right now and know where doors may be open and where doors may be shut and how to navigate all of that. I like to say that I like to help people find their path and make their magic. All right. And if you like this format where we look at your specific astrology, the astrology for your rising sign, and then we pull in some tarot cards to see how the tarot adds to the conversation. If you like this format, I'm going to offer a membership starting in November where you will be able to get this kind of reading personally. So if if you become a member, every month I will send you a video about the same length as these, 10, 15, 20 minutes, that will go over your specific astrology for the month and dates to look for, and be a tarot reading specifically for you. So if you like this, keep looking for that. It'll open in November. And then every month I can come straight to your inbox and give you something really, really personal where I won't have to say, this is a general reading, take what works and leave the rest. All right. So, Gemini and Sagittarius rising. let's dive in to the astrology and how it's going to show up for you. So, the drumbeat, the backbeat of the month is really the Mercury retrograde. So, between August 4th and August 28th, Mercury will be retrograde. It starts the retrograde in Virgo and goes into Leo. And I think the real significant work is in that Leo stage of the retrograde. And for you, Gemini and Sagittarius risings, this is really about wisdom and truth, knowledge and facts. It's about thoughts and communications and conversations and learning and travel and all of those kinds of things. It's a real, this retrograde is really about revising your thought processes. So for Gemini rising, the energy, the retrograde energy is in your ninth house. And so it's really about revising maybe some abstract ideas, or if you're planning to travel, some travel plans, some spirituality, some teachings or learnings. It's really, revising, reviewing, rethinking, maybe something that you have started or stepped into, and it just needs the beauty of a Mercury retrograde to slow you down and help you figure out what is true for you. Sagittarius rising, it's happening in your third house, the Mercury retrograde. And so you are going to be invited to revise, rethink, redo, reframe some of your day-to-day communications, some of your informal education or teaching opportunities. There could be some review and revision related to local travel or siblings or neighbors or those kinds of things. But all in that mental realm of facts versus beliefs and where you find the balance in that. The full moon this month is also on that axis of wisdom, that third and ninth house axis for you. Full moons are illuminations, endings sometimes, and this full moon in particular is square Uranus, which adds the potential for some instability, or Uranus, when it comes in contact with things like this full moon, is looking for a place to release some tension, is looking for like is something stuck, and how do we break through that stuckness. The difficulty when Uranus is involved in any of these kinds of things is that um, Uranus is not always. The goal of Uranus is to relieve the pressure. It doesn't mean it's always pretty or the most productive or the best way to do it. So it requires a deal of grace and introspection to make sure that you can use that Uranian energy in a really, really productive way. We've had a lot of Uranus interactions this year. Jupiter met Uranus in April. Mars met Uranus in July. And so this is again, we have several. Mercury will square Uranus, Venus will square Uranus, and this full moon will square Uranus. And so there's just a lot of, while we're in this Mercury retrograde being asked to revise, there's this potential for some real quick shifts to happen that may not be pretty. So I really encourage you in this month to stop and think and sleep on it, whatever, however it is that you could really thoughtfully work with ideas or situations that are coming up so that you are able to achieve the highest good. The universe is here for us to co-create with. Sometimes things happen that are out of our control, but a lot of times we have the ability to decide how we're going to deal with that, how we're going to show up, how we're going to be our best selves. And so that's the real invitation through all of this. So also around this full moon, just a couple days before, we have a Mars-Jupiter conjunction. And when Mars and Jupiter come together, it is it's a lot of energy. So Mars is our ability to enact our will in the world. Jupiter is expansive, and so it can be like the ability to finally speak some truth, or maybe the ability to finally like the flash of insight, the idea that needed to come, that like something's been forming in your head and suddenly it like it comes together and you know what to go. It can be like that. It can also be bravado and hubris and just exaggeration. And so there's there's just a lot of energy around this moon that I think is worth some really strong consideration. So for you, that Mars Jupiter conjunction is going to be on the first seventh house axis. And that axis is really about your relationships, um, both your relationship with yourself and your relationship with others. For Gemini rising, it's really focused on your relationship with yourself, your appearance, how you show up in the world, the tools that you use to enact your will, um, how people see you, how you want them to see you. So all in that space. Um, of your first house. And for Sagittarius rising, it is in your seventh house, which is your house of committed relationships. So it's bringing together some energy around relationships and how you can speak power to those relationships, how you can maybe expand relationships. And how those relationships with other people really shape your relationship with yourself. So in both cases, it's both, and it's relationships with others and relationships with yourself. So that Mars Jupiter energy around the 14th is really going to be situated in that space. Now, Mars and Jupiter will then go on to square Saturn. Or, I'm sorry, Venus and Saturn. There we go. Venus and Saturn will be opposite each other, and during the full moon, Mars and Jupiter will be squaring both Venus and Saturn. It's called a T square, and T squares are tense aspects. They're aspects where there's like just the need to release some tension, to do something about the energy. This one is not a bad T square. It's really, I would call it kind of like adaptive management, because it's harkening back to some things that have happened before. Um, as with all astrology, it all builds on itself, but it's a choice point. And so adding into this full moon that's got this Uranian energy, we've got this choice point. Like, how do you want to deal with something? Um, and so that adds, that can add just a little more. It just pushes this full moon a little bit further over the top. And again, I think it's even more important to slow down and to really sit with whatever decisions you're thinking of making, sit with whatever energy is coming up for you, to really make sure that you're moving towards your highest and best self, and not leaping before you look, kind of thing. So so that's the energy. So there's something about mental focus, mental truth, wisdom, facts, fiction, the stories you tell yourself. That energy is really strong. And then this energy of your commitment to yourself, your commitment to others, and how those two play with each other. So that's what the astrology is saying for you for August, Gemini and Sagittarius rising. So let's look at the cards. So we are going to read from the Prisma Vision Tarot deck, and this box is kind of hard to read, but and then we'll pull a chakra card. We'll pull an oracle card from this Chakra Insights Oracle to show you, where to work on energy in your body, what might be blocked, what kind of exercises you might want to do to help move things along, to help you show up for your highest and best use of all that's going to happen in August. So we will shuffle. We are going to pull 3 cards. We're going to pull a card that shows you the opportunity for the month. We're going to pull a card that shows you the challenges for the month, and then your to-do list, and then we'll pull that oracle card. So for Gemini and Sagittarius rising, what can we do with What can we do? It's the most productive use for August. I'm losing cards all over the place. Be right back. Okay. Try this again for August. All right. That's interesting. Okay. All right. So, your opportunity in August, remember we're slowing down this month. We are, the potential for some unsettledness, potential for some surprises to come. But your opportunity this month, you got the Knight of Cups, the Knight of Chalices. And the Knight of Cups is, so all knights are about action and about moving forward, but the Knight of Cups is the cups is about emotions and relationships, and so like we have this relationship theme, right? And so I think the opportunity is really to take some action on relationships this month. Something about that, like there's some value in relationships and in finding how you work with that. And I also think this is helping us to think about like putting decisions in your body, seeing how it feels in your body, in your heart, in your gut. Sometimes you're sometimes things feel really heavy, and you can feel them in your chest, or you can feel them in your stomach, and I think what this Knight of Chalices is saying is there's an opportunity to, before you go, if something surprising happens, or if you get like this brilliant idea, if everything's all coming together, that just letting things sit in your body might be a really good plan of action. Nights are also about communication, and you've got, that the third ninth house axis is a communication axis. And so again, there might be some communication around feelings, around how you need to be treated in relationships, you need to treat yourself in relationships, any of those kinds of things. There's opportunity this month for movement around emotional kinds of situations and relationships. So the challenge is going to be temperance, and this is so interesting because this temperance just came up in the Scorpio Taurus reading. So temperance is about finding balance. It's about figuring out how to, how maybe the earth doesn't feel stable for you right now. Maybe like there are lots of ideas going on, but how to put yourself in a position where you are secure, where you're holding all of the things that need to be held. Um, so so that may be hard this month. There may be some surprises that throw you off balance or off center, but there's something about putting it in your body, really feeling into whatever actions you're taking that will hopefully help with this struggle with keeping balance and keeping things stable. And yeah, so sometimes when things change or when things shift, and particularly you as a mutable sign, like you're really good at contorting to whatever you need to do, like moving yourself into whatever position you need to balance out whatever else is going on with you. But that might be a struggle this month, and maybe this is an invitation to move or talk about your feelings or something, rather than just contorting or holding the center. Like sometimes it's not. Sometimes you don't want to hold the center. Sometimes it's just time to say we need to go on. Like this isn't working. Um, it's one of those things where like you talk about your neural pathways in your brain. Like there's the way you always deal with something that probably was created because of some childhood situation that's not there anymore, but that's your go-to thing, whatever it is. But if it's eating something, or if it's shopping, or if it's anyway, any of those things, the your neural pathways, like this is the way I handle this situation. I handle stress by doing this thing. and when you want to change that, like that's the center, that's your homeostasis, but it might not be healthy. It might be just fine, but it might not be healthy. And if you want to change it, like sometimes you have to get out of balance. You have to move yourself into something that is uncomfortable, and do it often enough that it becomes comfortable. Does that make sense? So that's kind of what I'm getting, that there's just some around this relationship realm, or around this thoughts and ideas and how you're communicating about them. Something, there's, yeah, some movement, um, and trying to balance it all might be a little difficult this month. Your to-do list, though, is lovely. It is the 10 of Pentacles. And the 10 of Pentacles is the legacy card. Again, it's a relationship card. It's about creating, creating a stable. Oftentimes, it's a family kind of situation, but it doesn't have to be a biological family. It can be a found family, but creating those committed relationships where you are showing up in truth and in honesty and in authenticity. All of those third and ninth house kind of things. Um, and then balancing how you show up for yourself and how you show up for others. So the 10 of Pentacles says you are, so tens are endings, like things have come together and you're ready to start on that next step. So I was talking about like rewiring neural pathways, and that's what this makes me think of, is like there's something culminating with this moon, something, coming together. I've got this. I've created the legacy, I've created the stability, and now I need to be off balance, or I need to take this other action in order to move me forward for whatever the highest good is. Um, so yeah, and during Mercury retrograde, that's hard because we can only go so far forward. If we do too much during Mercury retrogrades, or if we push too hard, we often have to redo it. So there's some temperance, there's some balance. Maybe you are ready to move on from something. And this card is saying, yes, you're ready to move on from something, and that is what you should do. But maybe the temperance is, it's not quite time yet, or figuring out, when the right time is. You certainly can do these kinds of things. You can move on during Mercury retrogrades. You just need to be thoughtful about it. Just, again, let it sit in your body, let it sit in your heart, before you act. All right, let's see what the what chakra it would be helpful for you to focus on this month, to relieve whatever pressure it is that needs to be relieved. And threw out a card right away. We got insight. So this is a crown chakra card. The tarot words are, actually, I'm going to check to make sure this is the crown chakra. The colors are kind of there. Sometimes it's hard for me to tell which one is which. The crown chakra is 43. This is not a crown chakra. This is a third eye chakra card. So insight, third eye chakra. So the keywords are understanding, awakening, awareness, and self-evaluation. So I think what this is saying is really, listening to your intuition, really, putting it in your body, feeling how things feel, that there's just something about, being still and quiet, and doing your third eye work. Maybe stepping into some spiritual realms. The third and ninth house are very spiritual houses, and can be about spiritual teachers, or can be about new understandings. And so maybe there's something there. So I would say that there's definitely some meditation, some dream interpretation, some looking at synchronicities, any of those kinds of things that you usually do, whatever third eye chakra work looks like for you. So very interesting in all of this, in this ending. Third house, ninth house stuff feels very insight based. So thank you for joining me. I hope this has been helpful. If it has, again, if you would like, subscribe, share, or comment, I would be eternally grateful. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks so much. Bye.